So I'm here with John Stockwell from ATB Mountain Bikes, just to get some more skills for the Passportes du Soleil. So tell me a little bit about ATB and what you do here.
So ATB Coaching is a progressive coaching company. I coach around at the Olympic Park, Headley, here at Danbury, various other venues, and it's predominantly a skills coaching course. So what we're going to do in a minute, we're going to have a look at your bikes, just make sure your setup is all fine, and then we're going to go into the woods, find some jumps, find some drops, and get you some core skills that should set you on your way to the Passportes.
Point, how did you learn mountain biking?
So originally I was a professional BMX rider, so I went all over the world racing BMX at World Championships, and then I started racing 4-cross against Steve Pete, the Athertons, Greg Minnaar, so you may have heard of those names.
Yeah.
So I've raced 4-cross against those guys, and then I've been working for British Cycling now for 9 years, so I'm a tutor for British Cycling and do all their mountain bike and BMX coaching. So we'll have a look at your bikes first, Tom. And the first thing we need to check every time we go out is the tyre pressures. That's the first thing that connects us with the ground, and if we get that wrong, we're going to be fighting it all the way. And it'll be different for different terrains. General rule of thumb is between 25 and 30 psi.
Okay.
But we can use our thumb, so if we press that in, we can see there, if you press this one, Tom, because you'll get a feel for this one. Now that is a little soft, so that's probably about 20 psi or lower. And the trouble is with what we're doing with the more aggressive type of riding, jumps, drops, then what you're going to get a lot of bounce on the tyres, and then when we go into the corners, you're going to get a lot of force with the tyres trying to come off the rim. So we'll put a little bit of air in that one for us. Now, if you had tubeless tyres, which means they haven't got inner tubes and they've got a solution in there that fixes the punches, you can run them a little bit softer. But again, you don't want them too softer, because if they come off the rim, all the solution comes out. So with our inner tubes, if we was riding on rocky terrain, we can have that a little bit harder again, but not so hard that it bounces up and down on the rocks. We've done our tyres. The next key thing is getting the bikes out for the terrain we're riding. Now here you've got a coil spring rather than a chamber like on mine. But general rule of thumb on most bikes with suspension is that you want what we call 30% sag, between 20 and 30% sag. So what that is, you set your suspension up, and then when you sit on it just on the flat here, sit down, take your weight off of it, it should go down between 20 and 30% on the front there. So for my weight, that's about fine. If you try that, see how that feels for you. So probably a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
So in this case, I think if you wound that up, just next thing we can set up is our rebound, and that's how quick the suspension works. Again, depending on the terrain. So if it's lots of little rocks, you want it working quite quickly. And then if there's not so much little rocks to catch you, then you can slow it off a bit. There's a few ways to do it. Sometimes the compression, you can do a few dials on here, and some of the forks have the rebound underneath there. There's a little dial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So again, a good rule of thumb for that is you count how many clicks there are from left to right, set it in the middle, go and try that, and then you can play about from that middle setting to adjust it up or down, again depending on the terrain. The first thing is that everything we do is going to come from what we call ready position, which is pedals level. Okay, now feet nice and square on the pedals, so nice in a straight line just on the balls of your feet there. Okay, and then we're going to be standing up on the pedals, arms nice and relaxed, knees nice and relaxed, we're not crouching down too much. Make sure our thumbs are wrapped around the grips there, and more importantly, fingers just resting on there. Now if you've got sharp brakes, you're better off, that's it, with one finger on each, because then you'll have less chance to pull them up too hard. And then the other thing is looking ahead. So we just roll down here in this nice ready position. Nice and simple, but it is the key to everything. Okay, so we'll just do a roll down there. If you just watch me. So standing up, nice and relaxed, looking ahead. Move the bike. So both fingers on the brakes, don't forget, just rest them. Move the bike about. Right, so the key point is here is as you come in, you go down, which you're going down, so you're going down like a spring, and then here you're going to pop up, take your body tool, which is brilliant, front wheels high, then you're flicking that back wheel up to get the wheels level, and that's exactly how we want to be in the air, and then we can then land down the same to the level of the terrain.
Okay, yeah.
So that was really good. Well done, Tom. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was good. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Good. We've done a solid 3 hours there. So at the start, we started with the core skills. What did you pick up in particular for that?
I'd say the main thing is that bunny hop. You know, it helps me get a lot of stability off these jumps.
Yeah.
I'm not going front end too high anymore.
Excellent.
I'm used to it now.
Okay, that's great. And yeah, as we said there with the weight shift, so especially when you go and do your event in the ports, you're going to have some really steep hills. So it's about getting your weight centered, letting the bike pivot.
Yeah.
What did you think of the steep banks here that we dropped in? Did that set you up right?
Yeah, they're all right. Like, looking down at them, they look a lot worse, but you just do what you're meant to do, and they're easy. The bike does it for you.
Exactly. So always remember that. So whatever the terrain is, just remember that technique. Think of that technique in your head. That'll get you through. A couple of things to work on for when you go away is literally just keep practicing that bunny hop, keep practicing that weight shift, and your cornering with your inside pedal up. And I think you'll be good to go at that event. I think you should have a good event.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, thanks Tom. See you again.
Thank you.
Let us know how you get on in the event.
Yeah, I will do.
Cheers.
Excellent.